everyone, welcome. I'm Amanda. If we've never met before, welcome. So we'll just do a basic kind of standard flow class today, nothing super fancy. As always, use props that suit you, so blocks, bolsters, pillows, straps, anything like that that support your practice at home. And then this actually will be the last class I post for free on my YouTube. Going forward, I will be sending out links for purchase, so there will be some more information coming out about that on my Steel City Yoga page, so you can stay tuned for that. All the content that is out there still exists, so you'll be able to practice with any of those videos as well. And look forward to continuing to practice with you online or in the studio as we go through the rest of this year. So hope you enjoy class. We'll get started on our backs today, so you can lay all the way down in Shavasana and start to just find your way into earth and into a comfortable space. And once you get there, just start to scan the body head to toe. Tuning into your breath. And just starting to notice if anything feels a little stuck or a little tight. And as you continue to soften where you are, see if you can deepen your breath. Pulling it in through the nose and letting it drain back out, working to make the inhale even with the exhale. Noticing if the breath gets caught in any space as you go, and working to smooth that out. And just a couple more moments here on your mat. Settling, tuning in. And then as you feel ready, we'll start to invite the fingers and the toes to wiggle. Maybe roll out the wrists. And then take that roll out the other way. Arms can reach up overhead for a big stretch. Lengthen through the fingertips or the palms. Point through the toe. And then wrap the right knee into the chest. Give it a squeeze. Tug the knee into the shoulder, and then again rotate the ankle. Letting it roll around right and then left. And then pointing and flexing. And then give that leg a hug, and then maybe circle out the hip. And if you took those circles, take them the opposite way. And then as you're ready, knee into chest, cross it to the left. Supine twist, look over that right shoulder. Filling out deeply. And emptying smoothly. Just another breath in. And out. Come back up to center, give your knee a little tug. And then exhale, send that right leg long, switch it with the left, tug that left leg in, breathe in, and then again start to find some movement in the ankle joint, pointing and flexing, rolling the foot around left and right. And then taking that into the hip. And then helping that knee across to the right side this time. Supine twist, look over the left shoulder. Breathe in. And breathe out. Filling. And emptying. One more here. Stay. As you come back up to center, hug both knees in, and we'll take a similar movement. So you'll hold the shins and you'll tuck the knees in and then roll them out and away, hug them together. Do a couple more of those through your own pattern and then go the other way. So out into the chest and they stay together as they move away. Sort of waking up our body, getting some movement into the joints. And then when you feel complete with that, give yourself one more little hug on your back. And then start to rock and roll front to back. Maybe all the way up through the shoulders, maybe not. And then we'll land in a seat with the feet on the floor. Rock a little side to side. Make sure you're on your sit bones, chest up, toes to earth. Maybe hands behind the knees or on the mat. Arms can also be free. Navasana, boat pose. Lift up, flex the toes back towards your nose. Again, hands can support the legs if that feels better. Shoulders draw down so they're not creeping up to the ears. Fill up the lungs and empty. Breathe in and breathe out. One more. Let the feet drop, round yourself, give yourself a squeeze. And we'll take some seated cat-cows like this. So holding onto the shins, open the chest, look up, lift up. And then round and pull away. So holding the elbows does not work. You can hold the forearms or the legs. You'll lift the chest, open. And then pull the heart away from the legs as you empty, chin to chest, forehead to knee. Breathe in, lift up. Make sure again you're on those sit bones and not the tailbone. And then empty, round it back. Another one, inhale to open. And exhale, squeeze. Come back up, breathe in. And then let the feet touch and the knees roll open. Baddha Konasana. Butterfly. So sit up and lengthen, holding onto the feet, really straighten through the spine. And then pull the heart forward, and this might be where you stay. If you feel warm enough, and it's still really early in our practice, you can start to fold a little down. You can always take a block for a place for your head to meet, although we won't be here super long. Think of drawing the head away from the hips, so keeping length as much as you can, letting the knees roll open. And again, if staying upright feels better, or if your knees are a little high, you can always cradle the sides of the legs if that feels better for you. Remember that this is always your practice, so fit in what works for you. One more. Let it go. As you feel ready, lift the chest. We'll cross the ankles and we'll find a table. And then shoulders over wrists, knees underneath the hips, traditional cows and cats. So on the inhale, drop the belly, lift the heart, look up. And on the exhale, squeeze and round. So articulating the spine, open and close. So rounding, hinging the heart forward, building space in the front of the chest, and then squeezing the belly up and in, hollowing out. Inhale to open. And exhale to round and squeeze. Two more like that. Remembering as you drop into your cow, making sure you're still engaging the belly enough to support the low spine. We don't want to collapse it into itself, even though inhale, we are arching it. And then exhale, same thing as you round. Be kind to the cervical spine, so tuck the chin, but not in a space that creates pain. Also, when you lift the neck in your cow, only go as far up as it feels good, not crunching those little tiny vertebrae, being kind to them. So just finding movement that feels good. And then as you're ready, we'll come back to a long spine. Knees will walk a little closer together, and on your in-breath, lift that right leg up to hip height. You can choose to stay. You can tent the left fingers for a little more challenge, or for more challenge from that, you can lift the thumb up and the palm faces your right. You can also curl these left toes into the mat if that feels better for you, as opposed to the top of the foot down. And then take the belly and zip it up towards the spine so you're supporting the lumbar spine. Breathe in and breathe out. Keep that right hip closed to face the earth, so make sure that leg and the toes point straight down. One more. And then let that left hand release back to earth, followed by the right knee. We'll take a cow on the in-breath, flip the tailbone up and the heart forward. And then round in, tuck the tail, chin to chest. Empty. Back to neutral. Knees again, walk a little closer. Left leg back and up as you breathe in. And then again, adjust with the right hand. Maybe it's tented fingers out. Maybe the arm is up. Maybe the hand stays down under the shoulder. Breathe in. And breathe out. Fill. And empty. The last one, breathe in. And empty out. Take an in-breath, get a little bit longer, and then hand down, knee down. And take one more cow pose. And then as you come into cat, touch the toes together, let the knees walk a little wider. And then send the hips back to a child's pose just briefly. Forehead to earth or ear down, your choice. Soften through the back of the hips and the back of the legs. Letting the chest drape towards the floor. And as always, if this is not the most comfortable space for you, you can prop yourself up on a block under your seat or your heart or your head. Just a couple more here, finding space. And then as you feel ready, back up through your table, take a breath to move into that nice long neutral spine. And then from there, step the hands forward so they're ahead of the shoulders, curl the toes, and then lift the hips, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So sometimes we like to really jut the hips up, which flares out the ribs, so we still want the tailbone lifting, but we want it with support through the center. So pull the front of the pelvis and the low rib cage together towards each other. Sink the heels and soften the knees so we're not hyperextending the legs. And then again, try not to bend those elbows out, so press away. They have a little micro bend, but they're supporting the body. So pressing back the shoulders and letting the shoulders plug back up and towards the hips. Head hangs loosely in center. Take a breath. And drain it out. And if your heels touch the earth, that's great, but that's really not the goal. So we want to feel length building in the whole back of the legs and the back of the spine. Maybe you shift your hips, maybe pedal out those heels. And then from here, let the feet touch. And let the right leg come up to that hip height space again. Again, everything else with our down dog remains the same. We just are doing it on one leg now. That right leg still needs to be really active to support the lift, but also to support the standing leg. So if we soften our right leg and let it just hang, we're making the left leg and their hands do a lot more work. So if we can activate through that right leg as well, it takes some of the lift and the work out of the standing limbs. One more. If you'd like to bend that knee, turn that hip up and open. And then again, you can circle out the ankle if that feels good. Keep the belly drawn back up and in. Re-straighten that right leg, take a breath. And then let it set down next to the left. So we're working on a little wrist and shoulder strength here, staying in our dog. Lift the left leg up and stay. So again, push back through the hands so that the legs start to take a little bit more of the work, and then kick the left heel, squeeze the quad, the front of the left leg, squeeze through the glute and the hamstring to really support the standing limbs. Bend that knee if you'd like, turn that hip up and open, and then roll out the ankle as you feel it supports you. Breathe in and breathe out. One more. Empty, straighten that leg, take a breath, let it get really long, and then set it down next to the right. Up on your toes, put a bend in the knees, look at the thumbs, and then walk, step, or hop your way forward to a fold. And we'll let ourselves hang in this forward fold for just a moment. Maybe turn the palms up, thumbs face the feet, and the pinkies are out, and you can wiggle the fingers or sort of roll the fingers in. Just a little change of the space on the wrists. Breathe in. And breathe out. On your next inhale, slide the hands up the shin bones, pull the head in line with the hips, and lengthen yourself away. So we don't want this rounded spine, nor do we want a really overarched back. So a nice flat back, and then check in with the head and the neck. So the neck is nice and long. The hands are helping you lengthen, the shoulders are wrapping back, the belly squeezing in. And then you should start to feel some work in the back of the legs, along with the obliques. Root down through the heels. Maybe put the hands on the hips just for a moment to really feel that space you're building. And if the shin bones seem far away, you can always use the thigh bones. Just make sure you're not using your knees. We don't really want to push on our joints if we can avoid it. One more in our halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Take a breath. And then fold your head heavy and down, empty, forward fold, Uttanasana. We'll come all the way up to stand, reach and rise, sweep to the sky. And let your hands come to your heart, and then to your sides, mountain. Squeeze up through the front of the legs, root down through the feet. Feel yourself being supported. Find your base. And stay nice and tall. Breathe in. And drain out. In breath. Empty. One more. Let it go. Arms to the sky, reach, rise. Spill and down. Fold. Halfway long, inhale, lengthen, spine flatten, head folds, just let it die. We'll come up and do a few more of those half sunnies. Circle and reach, breathe. You can again come wide, or always you can come through the middle, folding in half. Inhale, lengthen, halfway. Exhale, fold. We'll move on after this one, so come on up, reach, breathe. Maybe add a little back bend. Spill and die. Halfway up, lengthen and flatten, breathe in. And then hands down, step the feet back to your first high plank. So shoulders are over the wrists, feet are pressing into the earth, legs are nice and long. So we don't have the butt sticking up. We have a nice flat back. So again, we are scooping the front of the pelvis and the base of the ribs together. You can always drop the knees and pick up the toes, but again, making sure that's not arching the back, and we're not in a table here, we're in that supported plank. So our hips are not over the knees, they are in front of the knees if our knees are down. Take a breath. Empty. Two more, fill up, drain, One more, really fire up the back of the legs. And stay. On this inhale, see if you can build a little space, lengthen forward, and then elbows graze ribs, lower through the arms. Set the body down in one line, tops of the feet find earth. You'll slide the hands back just a little bit. Press into the palms lightly, squeeze the glutes, feet to earth, and then wave it back down. So we'll do 2 more of those. They're cobras, bhujangasana. Come on up, lift, lengthen. Hands are still light though. The support comes from the belly, the back, and the glutes. Exhale, wave it down. Breathe in, lift, lengthen. And then exhale, back to earth. So up to your cobra this time, pressing, lifting, lengthening, or straighten the arms. Lift the thigh bones. Squeeze the glutes for upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And then exhale, downward facing, hips to the sky. Breathe in. And breathe out. So any of those cobras or up dogs through our sane are your option. You can always skip anything that doesn't speak to you as well. So take the pieces that work for you. Up to your toes, bend your knees, look forward. Come to the front of your mat for a fold. Halfway up, lengthen, breathe in. Breathe out, dive down. Inhale, reach, circle, rise. Spill, dive. Halfway up, inhale, lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Hands to the earth, high plank, empty. Drop your knees if you like, pull forward, take a breath. This time either to earth or stop halfway down, chaturanga. Flip the toes, scoop up to your up dog or your cobra. And then back to your down dog, hips to the sky. Inhale, rise, bend and lift. Come forward to a fold. Lengthen and come up halfway. And empty, head down, dive. Reach and rise, sweep and breathe. Come on up. Spill, fold, arms out wide or through your middle. Keep the belly engaged and in center, hooking up under the rib cage, flatten and lengthen. Breathe in. Hands down, high plank. On the in-breath, pull forward. And then exhale to lower. Flip and lift, breathe in, Bhujangasana or Urdhva Mukha, so that cobra or that up dog. And then back to your down dog. Inhale, rise. Bend, look forward. Empty to the front of your mat. Halfway long, flatten and lengthen. Dive and fold. Reach and rise, Urdhva Hastasana, stand up, grow tall, maybe go back. Spill it and hinge. Inhale, lengthen. This time our high to low will be all that one breath. Take it slower if you prefer, but exhale to your chaturanga. Flip and open, breathe in. Breathe out, lift. Just one more of these. Inhale to your toes, bend your knees, look forward. Come on up. Halfway, breathe in. Dive and fold, breathe out, squeeze together. Reach and rise, circle tall. Spill and dive. Inhale, halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale into your chaturanga, high to low. Flip the heart forward, squeeze your glutes, open and offer. And exhale, downward facing. We'll stay here for a couple breaths together. Breathe deeply. Empty fully. Fill up. Drain out. So reset that dog from the beginning. Notice if you're feeling a little different in it, if it feels a little better, or if you have a little more space. Maybe you don't. Just notice. And then you can stay here or come back to that child's pose, dropping the knees. Hips to heels, forehead down. Take a few moments right where you are. Keep that breath moving, slow and full. And then again, as you're ready, downward facing dog. Finding your way back up. And once you get there, feet draw together to touch. Let the right leg lift up, hip height, flex the foot, breathe in. And then right knee, right arm, high plank, give it a tap. Send it back, breathe, kick the wall behind you. And then knee to your nose, shoulders over wrists, really draw that knee into the center. Press it back, take a breath. Empty as you cross it to the left. Inhale, send it back. And then coming up through middle again, but this time unhinge the foot lightly between the thumbs. Drop your back foot on 45. Come on up, slowly, warrior one. Once you get up, maybe clip your hips. So sometimes this left hip likes to open out. And we want to think about drawing it forward. So we want the hip bones facing that short edge of the mat. And if this bigger stance doesn't feel so good, all you have to do is step that back foot up so you can work that rotation a little better without straining the knee. And then belly in, shoulders over the waist. Sit into that front knee, and if you'd like more, lift the arms. But remember, the arms are added. So if the arms come up and the breath suffers, keep the hands on the hips. Same thing, if the arms come up, but you feel the back knee or the hips get a little strange, lessen what you're doing and come back to those foundational moments. So start with the feet. They are grounding connection to your earth. Work up through the legs, then the torso. And the arms and gaze, typically in standing postures, are the last things that add challenge. So not all of it has to be done together. Root down through that right heel, really press that foot firmly, and then the left outer side of the foot, press that back so you feel the quad and the hamstring work in tandem. One more, breathe in, and breathe out. Let the palms reach to touch. And then we'll get a little wider, so this back foot turns to 90. Mine generally walks back a step or so, and then I re-sit into this front knee for warrior two. Tuck the left hip down. So sometimes we like to kind of kick this left hip up. Tuck it down, roll the right knee open so the hips are generally the same height off of earth. Again, arms are added. If they feel better on your hips, do that. If they're lifted, they're front to back. So the left would disappear behind the right, and then the gaze follows that right middle finger. Check in with the rib cage. We're not trying to crunch it into that right leg, nor are we trying to lean forward into the middle. So we want to rotate this thigh out and open, and then sit straight down through center. Right knee, make sure it's over that ankle or behind it, so we're not putting undue pressure on the knee. And also don't let it buckle in. We want to be kind to our knee joints. So support them with good spacing. Take a breath. Sit a little deeper, empty. Make sure the shoulders are still staying away from the ears. Fingers are wide and spread out or actively pulled together. So either is your choice, but just make sure they're doing something with activity. And then lift the arms, straighten the legs, take a breath. Sit back down, empty out, look right. Maybe follow the fingers up, reach and lift, breathe. Sit down. As you lift, think of squeezing the thighs to each other. And then sit and press through the hands. The hands pull you up, they're active, squeeze, press, sink. Again, inhale, lift. Keep your root engaged. Exhale, sit to stay. Big reverse, right arm high, reach it. And then stay here for just a moment. Let that right arm reach straight up over the shoulder. Let this left arm hover down, or maybe it wraps half around. Just make sure it's not sitting on the outside of this left knee, so it's either hovering or wrapping. And then again, check in with that right knee. A lot of times in reverse warrior, we let it straighten. See if you can re-sit it. Try not to crunch this left side. One more. Empty. Get a little taller. Breathe in. And then cartwheel the hands to the earth. Spin on the ball of the left foot. Look forward. Take a breath. We'll try to keep this right knee nice and bent as we step the left to join it. Ending in a chair. Chest comes up. Breathe in. Sit the hips down. Again, hands can be in different placements, whatever feels better. Goalpost is sometimes nice in chair. It lets the collarbone broaden. And then make sure we're not over tucking, so we don't really want this sort of rounded push forward, but we also don't want that over arch back. So nice, neutral, long spine. Think of your pelvis as a little bowl and you don't want to spill it out. And then sit. Breathe in. Breathe out. Weight in the heels. Make the thighs and the legs and the glutes support you and do some work. 2 more. Breathe deep. Drain it. Last one. Empty. Stand up. Reach. Palms touch. Spill and dive. Belly stays up and in. Halfway long. Breathe in. Lengthen. And back to that high to low push-up. Hands plant. You can walk step, or maybe you float the feet back into your chaturanga. Hard forward, scoop it, squeeze the glutes, protect the back. And exhale, downward facing dog. Reset here, take a breath. And empty. Feet touch, left leg up, breathe in. Knee to left arm, high plank. So really make sure the shoulders get over the wrists. Lift and kick, breathe. Knee to nose. Send it back. And cross it. Inhale, lengthen. Knee comes back into the nose. And then we'll set that foot through. Right foot drops again on that 45. Come on up, Virabhadrasana, Warrior One. So same thing, adjust that right hip. So that might be your stance. This left leg can get wider to the left, or the back foot can step up. Right hip circles forward. And don't force it. So if it's still staying a little open to the right, that's okay. That's the work that you continue to target. But just think of that draw as square forward. And let that move incrementally as your body opens to it. Breathe in. Maybe the arms come up. Press through the pinky edge side of this right foot so this leg is nice and long. So squeeze to the back of the hamstring and into the calf. And then settle. Take a breath. Empty. 2 more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last one. Stay. Let the palms circle to touch. And then open. Again, Warrior Two. So the back leg gets a little wider and parallels. The heel is back a little bit of the toes. So it's not totally parallel. Again, sit down into that right hip. Tuck the pelvis. Shoulders over waist. Look over left shoulder towards the left middle fingers. Fingers can spread wide or glue together actively. And then hold. Stay here. Breathe in. Breathe out. So settling a little deeper into our Warrior Two, we'll add that movement here in just a moment. Check in with this left thigh and the knee. And then press through the heel. On your in-breath, pull yourself up. Squeeze the inner thigh. Exhale, push it down. Breathe in, lift, reach. Exhale, push. 2 more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, push. Breathe in and reach. Empty, lower. Keep the legs big reverse. Left arm high. We'll let the right arm hover, or it can take that half wrap. Stay. Look up at the left fingers only if that works for your neck. You can look down or forward. One more. Pull in from the pelvic floor and up to the middle. Take a breath, reach. Cartwheel the hands down. Frame the foot, land on the ball of the right foot. Keep this left knee bent. So pull up from your root, really lengthen, press to this left foot. Take a breath to support the movement. And then right foot to left, bend the knees, Utkatasana. Arms reach, breathe. Sit, empty. So we'll put that out together a little quicker this time. Inhale, circle up. Exhale, spill and dive. Breathe in, halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, high to low. At the bottom of your low push-up, flip the heart forward. Breathe in, cobra or up dog. Exhale, down dog. The knee taps are optional. Skip them if you'd like. Right leg up on the in-breath. Knee to right arm empty. Send it back. Breathe. Need to know. So we're still moving with the entirety of your breath pattern. Inhale, kick it back. Breathe. Pull, exhale to cross. Inhale, reach. And knee to nose and then foot through the hands, empty. Drop the left foot, warrior one, come on up, breathe in. And then on your exhale, open into that warrior two. Right into that movement, reach up, breathe in. Press down, look right, empty. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sit. Breathe in, reach. Sit to stay. Inhale is your reverse. And exhale, hands to earth. Square off, take a breath, look forward. Exhale, left foot to right. Utkatasana, arms up on the in-breath. Sit on the exhale. Stand and circle, reach, breathe. Spill, float to earth, empty. Halfway up, lengthen, breathe in. Chaturanga, hands down, hop, walk, step your way back and lower. Up and open, breathe in. Exhale, breathe out, hips high. Feet touch and the left leg draws up, strongly filling. Empty, knee to left arm. In breath, kick it back. Slowly exhale, knee to nose. Squeeze, inhale, reach. Exhale to that cross. Breath in, send it back. Knee to nose and then foot through the hands, unhinge. Right foot rocks to the earth, circle up, warrior one, breathe in. Right into that open, warrior two. Into that movement, reach and lengthen, squeeze. Exhale, sit down. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, sink. Breathe in to lift. Breathe out to lower. Reverse, reach in. And then exhale, cartwheel down. Low lunge to square off and prepare, take a breath. Right knee to left, stay low, chair. Arms up on the in-breath. Sit deeper into your chair, exhale. Stand and reach, maybe go back. Spill and dive. Halfway up, lengthen. High to low. Inhale, ripple up. And exhale, send it back. One more time through, we'll add our balance at the end of it. Right leg circles, reach it. Tap, knee to arm. Kick it back, breathe. Knee to nose. Kick it back, breathe. Cross it to the left. Stay left. Inhale, knee to center. A little more challenge. Step it through the hands, empty. Warrior one, come on up, breathe in. Warrior two. Reach and lengthen, fill up, straighten the legs, exhale, sink. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more, reach up. Exhale, sit down. Big reverse, circle it. This time, right forearm to your right thigh, side angle. Let that left arm reach up. Stay. outside edge of the left foot down, roll the chest open, and maybe look up to the left. So we still want this left rib cage above the right, just like it is in our warrior two, but now we're doing it on an angle. So you should have a nice line all the way down from the shoulder to the heel. If you extend that arm over your ear, it keeps that same line. 2 more to stay here. If you want to lengthen that arm inside the leg and can support the rib cage staying open with the belly, that's an option. 1 more to stay. Breath out. Take an in-breath and then spill yourself down. Land on the ball of your foot. And maybe find your blocks if you have them, 2 or 1. Hands to them and then warrior 3. Left leg lifts straight up. Heel kicks straight back. Chest is nice and long. Blocks can be on a couple different heights, so medium, short, or tall. And then we'll play into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon here. So if you're on 2 blocks, you'll keep your left one stationary. The right one will move out a little ahead. Press into that right palm. If you're using 1, you'll step your right block out a little. And then you'll spin this left hip open. Left hand comes to it to start. So the foot went from toes down to toes to the left, hip down to hip open. And then maybe the left arm lifts up to the sky above the right. Breathe in. If you want more challenge, remember that's always your gaze and your arm, so less challenge would be hand to hip, more is arm up, less is looking forward or down, more is looking to the fingers. Stay for 1 more. Empty, get a little longer and a little taller. And then close down into your chair, bend the knees, arms up, reach. Sit. Circle and grow, maybe that back bend. Spill and dive. Halfway long, breathe. Ardha Uttanasana. Chaturanga Dandasana, high to low. Up and open, lift the chest. And exhale, lift the hips. Breathe in. And breathe out. Left leg circles, last side, take it up. Knee to left arm. Send it back, breathe in. Knee to nose. Lift and lengthen. Cross it to the right. Keep it there, take a breath, and then pull it into the center, empty and unhinge. Warrior 1, drop that right foot, come on up, big lift. And then exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, reach and straighten. Exhale, push and sit. Breathe in, draw up. Empty, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. Take a reverse, reach. But instead of the earth, again, left forearm, left thigh. Right arm up to the sky. Seal that outside foot down. Keep the right rib cage above the left. And again, you can lower this left arm if you'd like a little more challenge. You can also extend this right arm over your ear for extended side angle. Keep the right rib cage rolling open though. So if that starts to collapse, again, hand to hip is less intense. And gaze neutral or forward as opposed to up is also less. 1 more, take a breath. On this exhale, cartwheel down. Land on the ball of the right foot, pull your belly up. So similar to how we step to that chair, but instead we step up, right leg lifts. Blocks are great options again. Stack them on any height that you'd like. Lengthen, kick through that heel. In warrior 3, so Virabhadrasana here, left or right big toe is facing the earth. Halfway lift through the shoulders and the belly, so that halfway lift connection where we're really long through the spine and tight in the middle. Hold. Don't forget to breathe. A little softness in that left knee, and then step that left hand out. Start to turn the hip open, right hand to right hip to set yourself up. Keep that foot nice and flexed. And then maybe that right arm lifts to the sky. Maybe it doesn't. Breathe in. Breathe out. Fill. longer, and then land in that chair. Right foot to left, arms up, knees bent. Sit a little deeper, take a breath. This time, forward fold. Walk the feet a little wider than hip distance. Right hand to left, left to right. Ragdoll. Hang heavy, lifting up to the back of the tailbone. Lengthening through the back of the hamstrings. Building space through the upper back and the shoulders by letting the arms just dangle with gravity drawing you down. Stay here. Breathe. Just a couple more moments right where you are. And then as you're ready, release the hands to the earth. Let the feet walk together, lengthen halfway. And then plant the palms, step the right leg back. So now if you don't like to get into half pigeon from a lunge, you can send this left leg back up and then draw it through. Or from here, you'll walk the left foot all the way over to your right hand. Let the left knee drop towards the left wrist. Drop the right knee down. And then you might want to take your block or cushion and put it under the outside of the left hip. So we're working with a little deeper variety today, one where the shin is a little more parallel to the earth, so support is often really helpful here with the hips. And then we'll stay upright for just a few moments. If you have a second block, you can put it out in front of your mat as a good place for your head. Lift the chest and then see if you can crawl yourself over to the left here for just a moment. And then come back to center, open up. And then as you feel ready, fold forward. And again, that block can be under the head if that feels better. That other block can stay under the hip if you don't feel you need that. Or it doesn't speak to you today, that's fine as well. But I want you to melt here and to breathe. And really breathe into those spaces that are tight. So one thing about the hips is that as we spend time in hip openers, a lot of times we try and clench to resist or to alleviate some of the tension that we might feel in a hip opener. And if that tension is really, really intense, then that's where props come in, and we want to make sure we're in a comfortable space so we can breathe. But if it's just on that sort of edge where we're comfortable staying and it's just a little bit intense, then the work is to really breathe and let the body know that you're in a safe space. So our body doesn't really know when we put ourselves in some of these poses if it's supposed to relax or if it's supposed to prepare for some type of event like running or falling or catching yourself. It really doesn't know that. And the way we tell ourselves that we're okay here is through our breath. So by breathing deeply and fully, slow and calmly, we allow the body to understand that it's in a safe space, and instead of clenching and preparing for flight, it can relax, and then you'll start to notice as you deepen the breath that things start to soften. That you feel yourself melting a little heavier into the posture. And that's really because your nervous system and your breath have connected. The mind has told the body it's okay, and instead of preparing you to tense up and run away, your body is allowing you to soften. more moments here on this side. Keeping that breath pattern moving. And as you feel ready, you'll come up to long arms. If you do have a block under that left hip, you'll slide it out. We'll lean to that side and come around. And then plant the feet on the earth. We'll find another boat pose. So hands maybe tucked behind the knees, legs up, hands down. So if you remember, we started rocking and rolling through our spine, and we'll rock and roll maybe to stand. And if that does not work for you, eventually we'll just get to stand to start to step back into the other side. But we'll work a little challenge as we go if it works for you. So hanging in Ardha here for a couple more moments. Keep the thighs drawing towards the chest, the shins parallel to earth. If you know more challenging varieties, take them. Shoulders hug down, arms can be long behind the knees or on the mat. And as always, if it's a lot to lift the legs, you can always tap the toes as well. Now as we rock and roll back, you've got to tuck your chin so you don't smack the back of your head. Take a breath, maybe tuck the hands behind the knees, chin to chest, and then see if you can rock. Maybe give yourself a couple times to rock. Just letting the spine raise out, and then when you feel ready, rock all the way up to a forward fold. And if that didn't work and you didn't make it, you can cross the ankles, go over the shins, and find your way to Uttanasana, forward fold. And then we'll lift and lengthen halfway. And when you're ready, you'll step the left leg back, low runner's lunge. Again, we'll walk that right foot this time across the mat, so just toe heel it so it gets to the left hand, drop the knees. So you'll notice when you come into it that way, your shin is fairly parallel to the front edge. And that's where this block might come in and under the right hip bone. And then your second block for your head, but we'll stay upright for a moment here. We'll lift and lengthen the chest, and then we'll see if we can hinge over to the right. And remember that each side of your body is a little bit different, so if you didn't use a prop on the last side, or maybe you did and you don't feel you need it on this side, that's okay too. Come back to center as you're ready. And you can always stay upright, or if you're feeling ready to fold, forearms down, hands down, head down. Keep that breath moving, just like we talked about on the last side. So as you keep deepening and lengthening that breath pattern, you'll notice that your body starts to relax in the space. Even though it might feel a little tense at first or a little uncomfortable. And again, judge that intensity with openness, so don't assume you have to jam yourself into something just because. If it really is painful, it's not a space to be. So we want to be in a place that is challenging but not completely in a space where we can't breathe at all. So if your breath is really challenged here, props or the reclined version of this, you can always do this on your back as well, are better options. So find the posture and the variety of that posture that speaks to you. So a lot of things in yoga have sort of similar options, standing, seated, and on your back. So you can replicate a lot of the same things in just a different plane on your mat. So don't be afraid to adjust and go with what speaks to you today in this moment. more again on this side. And then again, as you feel ready, you'll lengthen up through the spine. If you have a block under your right hip, slide it out. We'll swing that left leg around. Then again, we'll land in our boat pose, Navasana. So rock a little side to side on the sit bones. Lift the legs. If you like challenge this time, peace fingers to your big toes. Let them lift up. So the toe lock is on the middle finger. The thumb is a cover over the big toe, and your first finger is just a secondary hold. So the toes actually push into the fingers, and the way the fingers pull into the toes, and then the shoulders soften. A little softness in the elbows. Keep the knees from locking, so a little softness in them, and then you're trying to pull the legs gently up to the chest to let yourself sort of lift a little taller. You can always straddle that out as well. And again, toes push into hands, elbows stay soft. The thumb is a cover or a little cap over the toes. And if you're staying here but you like to work the toe grab, you can do that too. If all of that sounds like crazy talk, hands behind the knees or on the earth are always great options. Keep the belly nice and tucked in. One more. And then again, we'll wrap ourselves into a little ball and see if we can rock and roll. We're not coming back up to stand this time unless you really want to practice that. Come up into a seat. And then we'll twist to the right. Breathe in. Stay up nice and tall, and then rinse out through the middle twist. One more. Empty, back to center. And then twist to the left. Again, stay tall through the spine. So sometimes when we put this left arm behind us, we kind of lean and slouch into it. That hand is really just a support and then twisting. This right arm is also not trying to really ratchet you open. It's a support. So both of the hands are support, and then the twist is coming from lifting away from the rib cage, or lifting away from the hip bone, so lengthening the space in the middle and then rotating the torso. And then what we do is we breathe into that space, so the lungs fill up, it pushes the diaphragm down. And then as we empty, when the diaphragm hooks back up under the rib cage and the lungs are empty, we have more room to move. So we move a little deeper with the exhale. And then we try and hold that movement and we breathe in to create even more space. And then again, twisting more as the lungs empty and the diaphragm tucks back up. Unwind as you're ready. Let the feet come to earth. If your blocks are far away from the back edge of your mat, you can slide them back because we'll use them for our inversion. And then feet to earth, arms long, lift the chest, and then roll yourself slowly to the mat. When you get to the mat, give the right leg a tuck in, extend the left leg long. And we'll come back to that supine twist, right leg across. Look over the right shoulder, right arm is long. And back up to center, give that leg a hug. And then extend it long, left leg tucks in. And cross it. Looking again over the left shoulder. One more. Stay. Come back to center. Plant the feet about hips distance apart and not connected to the hips, but fairly close to them. Palms down. Press into the hands and the feet. Take a breath to prepare. And then lift yourself up as you exhale into bridge pose. Setu Bandhasana, Sarvangasana. If the active bridge is not for you today, your block on any height can come under your sacrum. And then the palms press down. And remember, your block can be short, medium, or tall. If you are a wheeler from here, well, first, if you're staying here and you're not using a block and you want to wrap the hands under the back, that's an option. If you are a wheeler, hands come upside along the ears. You'll press into the palms, take a breath, and then roll up to the sky. Make sure the knees don't buckle in or out. Same with the toes. The wrists are parallel to that short edge of your mat, and your fingers are facing the heels. And then you can play around with where your hands move in space. You can maybe come up on your toes. You can start to shorten that wheel. So Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow. As you're ready, you'll tuck your chin to come down. Let the head and the shoulders meet earth. We'll meet back in bridge. Take a breath. And then we'll all lower the hips. Soles of the feet touch and knees roll open. Stay here. Breathe in. And breathe out. One hand to belly, one hand to heart, or arms up and overhead in surrender are options. From where you are, find your block and replace it back under the hips and let the legs lift straight up to the sky. So finding a little space here just to let the fluids drain from the feet down into the chest. Letting the eyes close. If you'd like to take a supported dead bug, you can bend the knees and let the knees tuck into the shoulders, feet up to the sky. And inversions are something super important for us to take daily. So in your own practice, really something to practice every day if you can, before bed or in the morning, anything that allows that sort of reset of our system. Take your final few moments in your inversion. And then as you feel ready, find your way into your Shavasana, your final rest. Legs come long, arms come long on the mat. Any props or tools you need for your final relaxation. And then scan the body, head to toe. Starting from the crown all the way down through the tips of the toes. So from the crown through the nose, the eyes, the jaw. Soften the shoulders. Breathe into the space in the centered chest, noticing the connection of the heart and the breath. Let the fingertips fall heavy. Notice the energy that runs to the tips of them and comes back up through center. Notice the connection of the back of the hip bones to your mat and your support, the legs and the feet. And when you get to the bottom, let that come back up. Feel the energy draw up through the limbs, that connection of your grounding, stable legs as they root into the earth. Both standing, but also as we lay supported by our mats. Moving that again up through the thigh bones into the pelvis. Feel the belly expand and fall with the breath. Chest center, fingers, elbows up through the shoulders, back into the neck and the throat. And then let that space settle right at the center of the forehead, our third eye. Feeling that connection between the eyebrows, that pulsating energy, that knowing of ourselves. As you feel ready, finding your way into a little ball and onto your right side. And then letting yourself press up to a seat that speaks to you. Drawing the hands into the center of the heart, Anjali Mudra. Know that you are enough. Follow your journey and be true to you. Give to yourself before others. For you cannot pour from something that is empty or half full, and you cannot give if you are not whole. So tune in to you always first. It is not selfish, but necessary. Trust in your journey. Trust in you. Letting the thumbs drop to our third eye. The light in my heart honors and greets the light in yours. I thank you for sharing your journey and your practice with me today and always. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Again, some changes will come out after this class is posted, so stay tuned for that. Also, we'll be putting out some information related to teacher training for 2021. So stay tuned for some info on my Steel City Yoga page. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, feedbacks, or want to work on anything, let me know. If you're looking for in-studio classes, you can catch me on Tuesdays at Yoga Flow and Wednesdays at my bar class with Pittsburgh Pop-Up Yoga through Rival. So we are there, and everything's always posted online, so check it out, and I will see you soon. Have a lovely day. Namaste.